No, great question. And let's clarify that. I'm actually going to address anyone watching. Addiction occurs within the midbrain. It hijacks the brain. So I want you to put your hand up next to you. Your thumb's going to represent the midbrain. Midbrain is responsible for survival. Food, water, shelter, sex. The species has to procreate or we cease to exist. So tuck that into the palm of your hand. And you're going to put these four fingers over the top. That's going to represent the prefrontal cortex, which is responsible for judgment. It's our Jiminy Cricket, our conscience. Yeah, this sounds fun, but are there going to be consequences? Am I going to get in trouble? Am I going to get hurt? So when we're teenagers, we do not yet fully have, or we do not yet have a fully functioning prefrontal cortex. So we might experience thrill, seeking a little bit more. Same thing happens with addiction. So when we're dealing with addiction, stress level goes up. The prefrontal cortex deactivates. It goes to lunch. So just imagine that. And the midbrain is responsible. It's tasked now with getting through whatever the situation is. So when addiction is present, addiction, the drug or the behavior, whatever that is, inserts itself into the midbrain as a survival mechanism. The midbrain actually is convinced that that drug or that behavior, whatever the addiction is required for survival. Sometimes it positions itself in front of food, in front of water. We know this, in front of shelter, okay? And some will attest, whatever that addiction is, positions itself in front of sex as well. So stress level goes up, prefrontal cortex goes out to lunch. Midbrain says, in order to survive, I've got to get high. What happens? The person gets high or drunk, stress level comes down, prefrontal cortex activates again, and that's responsible, again, the conscience. The conscience says, why did you do that again? You told everybody you were done using or doing this or drinking or whatever it was. How could you have done this, you disappointment? Shame level goes up, stress level goes up, prefrontal cortex deactivates again. Midbrain is the one responsible for survival. Oh no, this is happening again. Again, no judgment here, but in order to survive, I have to get high. I have to get drunk. I have to check out. So the person does it again. Prefrontal cortex, as the stress level goes down, prefrontal cortex activates again and says, are you kidding me? Do you know what's on the line? Do you know what's at stake here? You promised them. You swore that this was never going to happen again. You even believed it. You're a fraud. You're a failure. You're a horrible person. And that's mild, right? In comparison to what goes through the brain of an addict when shame is present. So again, stress level goes up because it's happened over and over and over again. Prefrontal cortex deactivates. It's gone. Midbrain says, I'm going to die. So we get high, we get drunk. Stress level goes down. Prefrontal cortex activates again. Do you see this cycle? Do you see this pattern of chaos? This is addiction. This repetitive loop, this repetitive cycle. This is not a moral decision. Your loved one is not using at you. Your loved one is not drinking at you. They are trapped in a revolving cycle. And something has to intervene. Something has to get in the way to stop this cycle. So again, they're not doing this at you. They're not trying to hurt you. This is literally about stress management, keeping that stress level down long enough that prefrontal cortex stays activated continuously for like 9 months, let's say. That might be overwhelming. That might be alarming to some. But we're not talking a couple of days here. We're talking an extended period of time where we have to keep that prefrontal cortex activated as much as we can. So we need to, and let's talk about this in a moment, we need to figure out how to keep that stress level down enough to build upon recovery skills and to gain some momentum in that realm.